Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. The following ideas hold the possibility of getting in on the ground floor of some next big thing. Alas, because these ideas by definition are cutting edge, if not downright futuristic, most are research oriented, which tends to require an advanced degree. We'll start with psychology, since the transcript of this is going to be in psychology today. We'll start with some psychology related predictions. Parsing mental illness. Terms like depression, schizophrenia, and autism will likely come to be seen as catch-alls for many different diseases with different etiologies. DNA and more macrobiological analyses, such as of neurocircuitry, will enable more precise diagnosis and, in turn, more effective treatment. Of course, such approaches to research will also facilitate precision medicine in the physical health domain. The U.S. will likely provide health care to all without regard to whether a person is paying into the system, the so-called Medicare for all. That will demand major cost control. So blood, urine, saliva, DNA, and imaging tests, which are far less expensive than, for example, internal biopsies and exploratory surgeries. So that way, because of that, the aforementioned kinds of research, those genetic and circuitry research and imaging research, will likely be well funded, which further increases job prospects in this field. People choosing a career related to precision medicine may well dramatically be a part, at least, of improving how disease is prevented, diagnosed, and treated. The next prediction area is gender fluid and contractual romantic relationships. Sexual binarism is being replaced by sexual fluidity, in which people can vary in time and degree of homo versus heterosexuality, monogamy versus polyandry, and so on. Also, the lifetime marriage has de facto long given way to shorter relationships, to wit the 50% divorce rate among those who pledged union until death do us part. Of course, some of these shorter relationships will remain ad hoc, from quick hookups to living together at will. But many people's desire for security increases the use of contracts that specify the commitment's length, their degree of fidelity, their financial obligations, and their intent regarding kids. These new forms of commitment will impose challenges, so some of today's marriage and family counselors might morph into specialists in gender-fluid couples in new contractual arrangements. AI romantic partners. Half of till death do us part partners part, and many of those who stay together do so less for love than for the kids, or because of inertia. Atop that, it seems that relationships between the sexes have worsened, acceleratingly so in the past few years. This seems more a trend than a pendulum swing, so as technology improves, the AI-driven romantic partner, as portrayed in the Oscar-nominated movie Her, and in actual incarnations such as Emma, you can Google that. You can, like, romantic AI partner Emma. Anyway, that kind of technology will advance much further. This is what I call weed regrets. The weed euphoria over the legalization of recreational marijuana is already starting to give way to the realities of what has occurred in the 5 years since legalization in Colorado, as well as acceleratingly frightening research from unbiased researchers like from university medical schools. As with alcohol, desperate family members will do what they can to get their weed-vitiated loved ones to get clean, so counselor types will likely find themselves with plenty of clients if they specialize in drug addiction. Now let's go beyond psychology. This first prediction is what I call online education 2.0. The field of education has had the motility of an iceberg, but the eduberg is starting to feel the flame from online education, in which students aren't chained to the one or two instructors at their one institution who's teaching that required course at an acceptable time. Another flame is the mini-cost modules on the students or employers or employees' topic of interest at that particular time. Of course, online education still suffers from low completion rate, which is largely a function of their attempting to port standard education online. But future iterations will be far more immersive, simulation-centric, individually paced, and to accommodate our ever more diverse society, instantly translated into any of many languages. Ask your traditional professor to do that. Online Education 2.0 will be used not only in higher ed and in employer-provided training, but as an ever larger part of K-12 education. For example, algebra, seen as a crucial gateway course to STEM careers, is too often taught by teachers longer on ability in math than in teaching, let alone in motivating students to study that difficult and potentially dry subject. Quadratic equations, anyone? I'm particularly intrigued by the idea of such world-class online courses in ethics. Ethics courses are already required, but too often yield A's in the course but F's in real life. Another topic that cries for a transformative approach is a course on the meaning of life. Reduced income and employment opportunities will require more and more people to live a much less materialistic lifestyle. A transformational course in living a meaning-centered life could be essential to ensure citizen happiness and to reduce violent social upheaval. Next, the centrality of data science. If knowledge is power, data is nuclear power. Ever-improving AI-driven data mining will increasingly automate and boost the quality of researchers, lawyers, doctors, and yes, psychologists' efforts to unearth actionable recommendations. For example, identifying biomarkers that are more predictive of disease. Also, data science will help us develop ways to better predict likely sources of terrorism and detection of terrorism, for example, using biosensors. Next, the robots are a-comin'. Robotic surgery is old news. For example, a surgeon in the U.S. can perform surgery on a patient in Africa, thanks to something called Da Vinci. Farming is growing ever more robotic. A current innovation is that robots can now, quote, see when tomatoes are at the perfect ripeness for picking. The coming decade will see ever more automated cars, trucks, trains, etc. Some activists are fighting automation, worried about the loss of jobs. Other people are putting their heads in the sand, and still others decide to pursue a career in robotics, thinking, if you can't beat them, join them. Next, the nuclear option. Solar, wind, and geothermal provide insufficient energy, so there's a growing consensus that nuclear need be part of the energy mix. That consensus is driving increased investment, including from Bill Gates, in the development of safer, less expensive, more compact nuclear power. Here's a long-shot prediction. That will eventually allow nuclear plus solar-powered vehicles and even aircraft, maybe even one-person aircraft, that will replace the car, eliminating the increasingly nightmarish commute times. Next, communal microhousing. The widely predicted decline in good employment will increase pressure to provide lower-cost housing. That's why we're seeing a boom in rental apartments and a decline in prices of upscale houses. That will likely accelerate, culminating in micro-apartment buildings with few hundred square foot homes that squeeze the most from each square foot, loft beds, pull-out stoves, and so on. The micro-apartments will likely be in large enough buildings to justify communal dining and maybe health and social services. Next, mass customized clothing. The daunting traffic and parking, and often even more time-consuming mass transit, will boost online shopping. Clothing has typically remained in brick-and-mortar stores' bailiwick, but we're already starting to see efforts to enable you to upload a photo of the part of your body for which you want clothes, pick a style and color, or answer a questionnaire like Stitch Fix asks you to do, and then the clothing manufacturer will custom create and mail your item to you. No more searching for needles and haystacks, including in the color, style, and size you want. You'll get just what you want delivered to your door. And finally, Nextgen Entertainment. This will be ever more important because of the likely significant increase in and underemployment caused by automation, offshoring, and just-in-time hiring. One likely breakthrough in recreation is what I call the immersion room. In public venues and as costs decline in homes, immersion rooms will allow people to interact as though they were in a jungle, in outer space, as a blood cell coursing through the human body, and so on. Those rooms' walls, ceiling, and floor will be video screens, and the environment in which the person moves will yield reactions from holographic 3D images. Less dramatic, but still vastly entertaining, yet more portable and inexpensive, will be virtual reality headsets that are no bigger than sunglasses with earbuds molded into their arms. AI-generated hit pop songs. Artificial intelligence already can incorporate common threads in platinum-selling lyrics and music, and at least one industry insider believes that within 5 years, 80% of top 40 hits will at least be AI-assisted. This may be bad news for most songwriters, but will increase the chance of you, as the listener, loving a song. Apart from high-tech entertainment, with more people working less than full-time if at all, they'll want to fill their time by attending longer festivals, maybe weeks long, inspired by the likes of week-long Burning Man. Now let's turn to you. If I were starting over again, I'd prepare for a career as a researcher developing an intelligence, quote-unquote, pill. Intelligence can be used for good or ill, but as long as the intelligence pill were ethically distributed, I'm excited about its potential. A more intelligent populace is foundational to everything from curing disease to creating more useful products to spawning better leaders. Of course, more important than what I would do is whether anything in this little lecture intrigues you enough, or someone you care enough about, intrigues you or someone you care about enough to do a little research into it. In any case, I thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. Feel free to give us a thumbs up. If needed, a thumbs down. Write a comment. Click the share button to share it on your social media. Subscribe. Any of the above would be great. In any event, thanks again for watching. I'm Marty Nemko.